Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Football United TV. This is Gunners from All Corners with your host, me, Anthony Herbert. Now it's time for that famous intro. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show. Mario, I've got to say that intro. Me and you dancing away. God, we've said it before, haven't we? It's something like out of Pulp Fiction or whatever it is, you know, but we still love it. It's that jive. It gets you in the mood, doesn't it?
I love it. Like I don't remember any time that I haven't danced to that intro, like ever.
No, I always do. Even when I used to watch it on my mobile and used to do present the show on my mobile, I'll be there, you know. Well, welcome to tonight's show, everybody. We have Manny. How are you, Manny? You okay, mate?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me back on. And I know that I've been meaning to come back several times before, but I wasn't able to do so. And I always do enjoy coming on this stream whenever I can. It is good to be here, and I'm really grateful to you for having me on as always. And looking forward to chatting all things Arsenal for now.
Oh, Manny, do you know what I mean? It's nice to have you on. You know your opinions are valid on this show, and all opinions is appreciated as well. And this guy down here, well, he don't need no introduction, does he? He's like a mole on me cheek. I was going to say something else, but I thought I'll keep it clean.
we appreciate it as always.
Yeah,
man. Thanks for having me back once again. Like I feel at home here, so it's good to be back. We actually haven't streamed together for like a month or so, so I've missed you, cuz we're family, as you guys know. So yeah, it's always good to be back. Good to be here with Manny as well. We haven't done a whole lot of streams together, so it's a pleasure. It's good to do it after a win against like our biggest rival right now. So.
Yeah, true, very true. Well, anyway, before we actually go into our topics tonight, I'm just going to bring up here. This is a company we're sponsored by, GlassOKits.com. They're, he's obviously they sponsor us. We do a lot of football. They do a lot of football kits. Obviously today, in this season, they also do kits going back a few seasons, authentic. As you can tell, Marley's got it all up here. Look at all the kits, yes. And also they got the retro kits as well. So, and the prices are good as well. And very authentic kits.
The prices you're looking at right now are actually in reais, which is the currency of Brazil. So don't think about this in pounds. They're actually a really good prices. If you go back to the Las Fitas show we did, which is a couple weekends ago, we apologize for that, by the way. But if you go to that, you find a promo that will get you 15% off. Everything they have is authentic. And as we always say, like from second division Congolese football to, like Real Madrid kits, most Premier League clubs as well. They're gonna have like stuff from all the way back to like many years ago to more recent stuff as well. So yeah, check it out. You're gonna be helping the channel, and you're gonna be helping like our good friends and sponsors at Golasso Kits. You won't regret it. Take a look.
That's okay. Just before we start, I just want to apologise from the other show that I do on the Premier League weekend show. Everything glitched. My Wi-Fi was literally all over the place. So if anybody has tuned in and watched that show, I do apologise on my behalf. It was my own Wi-Fi. So, that's it there. Right, let's get to it. Right. Arsenal 1, Man City 0. God, do you know what? Before the game even started, I'm not going to lie. I was literally worried about this game. Worried if we were going to win, how we were going to play, if we were going to win. Well, Murray, do you know what? I actually predicted before this game started. I went on a prediction show beforehand, and I actually predicted a 1-1 draw on this one. I was worried because obviously, as you know, there was no Saka. It was 50-50 whether Martinelli was going to play as well, you know. Party as well. So in all fairness, we did have a couple of injuries just as well as what Man City did, you know. So I feel on both half of the teams there wasn't really any excuses, you know, in my opinion. So yeah, I watched the game. I did enjoy. It was a bit flat in my opinion, and also neutral fans as well. When they were watching the game, they said it was a bit flat. But listen, Martinelli for me, come on this sub, literally it changed the game completely. It reminded me of when we used to play, going back a few years ago, when we used to play, we couldn't get anything from the game, and obviously, as you know, certain Robin van Persie, RVP, used to play for us, and when he used to come on off the bench, he changed the game around. So that's what it sort of slightly reminded me a bit of in this game. But you know, that's enough of me waffling on about this game because I've been talking about it all week. I tell you what, Manny, I'm going to come to you first. Your thoughts on this game, mate?
Well, I'm sort of going to start by answering, your question as to who would be the man of the match, and for me, it would once again have to be William Saliba, because I'll tell you what, for a team containing Erling Haaland, Julian Alvarez, Julian, I think is how it's pronounced, and also Phil Foden.
Yeah.
They never really forced David Raya into making a save, and we're going to come to Raya, of course, obviously in a minute.
Yeah.
And in as much as it is easy to say that they had an off day and they weren't able to sort of get through, a big reason of that, of course, was the back four partnership. It just goes to show when you stick to a flat back four and not have people necessarily, inverting and going in too often, you can get you have that much more solidity. I really don't like it, Anthony, when Zinchenko goes walkabout and neglects his defensive duties. But I think of late he has started to become a little bit better in that regard. But I still would much prefer if we had a proper left back playing in that role, and Zinchenko can just go into the midfield and perform that role that Granit Xhaka did before he left. And so that would ease a lot of our midfield concerns, especially given how often Thomas Partey gets injured. We still, for some reason, aren't able or willing to play the 4-2-3-1 formation, which is when we play our best football. And it really is for only one reason: to accommodate serial underperformers like Eddie Nketiah and Kai Havertz, neither of whom really contributed much today. I think Havertz did come in off the bench and played a little bit of a role, but Nketiah was pretty much toothless. But Saliba would be my man of the match for how he kept everything in order and didn't really allow Haaland and company to have a sniff. And for those of you who are saying that maybe it's time to consider Erling Haaland is overrated, put it in the bin. He's still a quality striker, and quality strikers have off days like everyone else. It's a ridiculous take to even think about, because he is still more than capable of scoring goals. Yes, he has missed several, but I mean, Wayne Gretzky did say that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and he's still taking more shots. And that's the thing with strikers. In as much as they score, they do miss quite a lot. It's par for the course. Harry Kane is no different. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was no different when he played with us. So get off Haaland's back. But let's give Saliba credit where it's due. Didn't really put a foot wrong. And even if there were moments when he looked perhaps a little bit shaky, he recovered magnificently. And really, it was only through the flanks that City had their chances. I do remember Raya, of course, receiving that back pass and very nearly being closed down by Alvarez. And he was closed down, only for the ball to end up going into the side netting. And I'll tell you what, that would have been an absolutely horrific moment for him and us if that ball had gone in. Thank goodness it didn't. But also on Martinelli, let me just say this. You're absolutely spot on with everything you say. And I also want to attack these critics who say that Martinelli hasn't been good enough or he simply isn't good enough for us. Bin it. He's one of our, probably more important to us than Saka, I would say, because of how the more incisive nature of his play and how he's able to rescue lost causes and also, just pretty much run those channels quite beautifully. He is certainly more effective, in my opinion, as a centre forward, but also has played the left wing role really well. And when he has looked fit, he's been the one, probably more than Saka, who's provided a lot of our attacking impetus. So I hopefully, we'll get off his back. Now, and when I say we, I mean the Arsenal fans in as a collective. I love the bloke, and I am never ever going to slag him off. And this particular game was also in some ways a strange game because we were in many cases dominated. Then as the game went on and it remained goalless, you just had a feeling that we would nick it. And here's the thing, Anthony, if you take a look at the way games have been played at the Emirates, whenever things have stayed, equal, in terms of goals scored or not scored, you always get the feeling that we'd be the ones to end up just nicking it at the end. Yes, we couldn't quite get it together against Fulham and Tottenham, but against United, now against City, that's the two Manchester clubs we've been able to just beat. And there was a great deal of fortune in the shot from Martinelli taking a huge deflection off Nathan Ake and then going into the net. But I don't think anyone can begrudge that we didn't deserve that. But again, I also don't want us to start making the mistake of saying, you know what, it's a terrific win. We should not only be very proud of it, but say to ourselves, you know what, we are going to go all the way this season. We are really, really heading on the right path under Mikel Arteta. No, we still have plenty of room for improvement. And it's just a reminder that without the necessary squad depth, we can't be expected to challenge. And let's not forget that we can produce a result like this against City, but then we also have to come up against the Liverpool team twice, who look resurgent this season. We still have to come up against Aston Villa, Newcastle, who look magnificent so far. I mean, they had a bit of a stumble losing to both City and Liverpool, but the way they played against PSG, I know PSG are having a dreadful season right now, but they made them look like amateurs. It was flat in some ways, as you say, mate, but there were some points where we did get dominated. We also did cause a few problems for them and had a few, I don't know, remember if we had a few any real shots or really troubled Edison that much. He did have to make maybe one or two saves where he came out and gathered the ball. In many ways, it was a game where both teams more sought to negate one another, and they were also struggling with injuries to Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri. And it just goes to show they're probably starting to slip a little bit, and they're going to have to do a lot of work to make sure that they recover. And I think it's fair to say that their new signings, Nunez and Doku, haven't exactly hit the ground running either. So, happy with the 3 points, but I do not want to hear any more of this ridiculous hyperbole that this could finally be our season once we got rid of the mental block of beating Manchester City. No. We needed fortune to beat them in this game. We were very fortunate to beat them in the Community Shield following another deflected goal, which took it to penalties. Technically, of course, that would be considered a tie. So we haven't yet turned the corner. The only way we can definitely say that we've fully turned the corner is when we can come up against them at their best and make sure that we really, really earn a good quality win. And yet, as happy as I am with the 3 points, I don't think any sensible Arsenal fan can say that that was a win which showed that we are well on our way to improving on our second place finish. So there's still plenty of games to play. We still have a lot to improve on. But look, 3 points is 3 points. I'm not looking to give horse in its mouth.
No, that's good. Do you know what, Manny? I can put that any better than myself, mate. I understand where you're coming from. See, this understanding, because now I'm going to be interested in what Maury's opinion is of the game. So, Maury, take it away, mate.
It's going to be another one of those nights, isn't it?
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
this show is making me to be the crazy positive Arsenal fan. I don't even see myself that way, but I mean, like I don't disagree with a lot of what he said. Like I definitely don't feel like this victory means we're gonna win the league. Yeah, like I also don't feel like saying that we're on the right path does not exclude the fact that yes, there are improvements that need to happen. The squad depth thing is something that like it's obvious that we could benefit from, like a proper backup to Saka, a more like all around like striker, right? Like that's better than Kitya. Even though I do feel like it's people are harsh on Kitya, I would love to improve on him. So like I'm not gonna argue with that too much,
Yeah.
like we could do better. I just don't
Yeah.
feel like he's crap, but we could definitely do better with someone that's not a backup, but someone that's gonna fight for that spot against Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with a whole lot. I just I do feel like it's an immense win in a lot of
Mm.
ways. I do want to get one thing out of the way because like if we lost the game or if we drew the game, I'm sure I would have spoken about this too much. So I just want to talk about incompetence because Kovacic, like being able to be subbed out and not getting a red card in that first half is just something like out of
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I cannot bring myself to understand that with VAR, him being on the like it makes no sense. Like the universe gave the ref a second chance and he missed that one too. But
Mm.
anyway, Arsenal won. I feel like we deserved to win. It wasn't a masterclass or anything like that. Yes, they were missing arguably their two most important players. We're missing, in my opinion, our most important player in Saka. You could argue that Saliba's the other one. Um, I probably agree that Saliba was man of the match, but when we come to that topic, I'll give it a different answer though, because there were more than one outstanding performances in that game.
Yeah. There we are.
But it's like I'm one of those guys who obviously like I was very torn. I was very broken that we didn't get to win the title last season. But I also acknowledge the fact that we're playing like our rival is the best team in the world, and I feel like it's very tough to argue with that. And they've been the best team in the world for a couple of seasons now, with, in my opinion, the best manager to ever be a football manager, like
Yeah.
the best in history. So, like, I don't think Arsenal has anything to be embarrassed of, and I I don't know. I just like if we don't win again, like I'm gonna be sad, but it's hard. It's hard. Like it's Man City. It's
Yeah.
Man City. So it's like we could improve. We could still improve a lot and still be second best because we're not
Yeah.
playing in another league, right? Like we're playing against these guys. And you say they haven't hit the ground running, and I agree. Like they're not at Man City's level yet, but they haven't played bad, and they're good players, right? Like Nunes and Doku. It's just that it's that tough. Like it's that top of football. Like I think Tijo's here, by the way. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm trying to add him here. Tijo, it's
Oh,
been too long,
long
man.
time. Too long. I
Long,
agree.
long time, man. Long,
Long time.
it's been too long.
Uh,
But anyway, yeah, like I was very. First of all, if Arsenal had played horribly and we won, like I would have been very excited because they've won 12 games in a row in the Premier League against us. So we needed a win. I feel like we got a win. Like sure, a couple of circumstances that you can name. Like if they had De Bruyne and Rodri, it could have been a very different conversation. Sure,
Yeah.
but still, like we had our injury problems as well, and I feel like we played not dominantly, but better than City, like more times than not. I feel
Mm.
like our shots weren't too good, but we had like 12 shots to 3 or something. Like
Yeah.
Arsenal did look like the side that was going to score. So throughout, I feel like I'm very happy with it, and sure, like there are improvements that need to happen if we're looking to not only win the league, because we could win the league and not mean too much in the long run, just because City are just off like they've won everything last season. So they could just slack a little bit this season, then come back next season, murder everyone. But if Arsenal wants to be that club that's going to give them a run for their money every single season, we need a lot of work to do, but like we need to be winning games like this. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's right. T-Show, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. How are
It's
you?
been-
You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing decent. Just came home from a very tedious day of work, but I'm alright now.
Oh, I know what I felt. I had a bit of an off day in work today. Oh, it was an absolute nightmare. I'm going to talk about it, but I just basically, welcome to the show. It's first time on, and
No.
hopefully I'll get you on again. Your thoughts on this game, mate? The Arsenal win against Man City.
Oh man, I have to tell you, couldn't watch it. Unfortunately, I was again at work, but I got a notification of the 1-0, and you had to be there. I was screaming my lungs out. So I can't even describe it. But I couldn't watch it like I said, but I think seeing from the highlights and a bit of the stats, I think we were the better side from what I could see. So, I mean, of course, it's very good to beat City after 12 years, like you said, Marley, and not 12 years, but 12
yeah, exactly.
games. Yeah. But I mean, just feels bittersweet,
Yeah, no, that was fair enough. No, I'm glad you enjoy it. At least it's a win. We're joint top with our rivals, so I've had a bit of stick from them as well. Thinking, well, the Tottenham fans now are going on thinking they're going to win the Premier League. Believe it or not, if they said if they're still top between about 15, well, it's around about 15, 18 games of the season, they think they're going to win the league. So this is what I've been told. But
tell you what, cuz that
what?
happens, I'm buying a bunker the next day because the world's gonna end. Like
it will do, yeah.
Spurs winning the Prem, like I'm buying a bunker the next second, mate. Like I'm spending all my money. Like I don't want to die. Like it's gonna start like raining cats and dogs. Like I don't know.
No, I can't see it happening. But personally, in my view, in my opinion, I think come January in the transfer window, I don't know. I think they might use that money on what they got from Harry Kane. I think they might go in for Ivan Antonio. I think he might go there. But that's a story for another time. Manny, Marty actually hit on something here. Basically, with Man City, saying that obviously they should have had a man sent off, red card. I totally agree with him. I feel that Man City should have been down to 10 men. Basically, your views on that, your opinions. Down to 10 men, yes or no?
Yeah, I would say so, because you take a look at the first tackle on Odegaard. If you're going to send off Curtis Jones for a similar tackle when Liverpool played Spurs at the Tottenham Stadium, then Kovacic had no excuse for not being given his marching orders. But I think I really don't. I might have to sort of take a look at the tackle again. Maybe some mitigating circumstances were there, and that the referee probably thought that Kovacic was trying to go for the ball. But then it sort of isn't really fair how Curtis Jones wasn't given the benefit of doubt, but Kovacic was, and that sort of highlights the discrepancies. And obviously, Liverpool had great cause to feel very, very hard done by with the refereeing when they played Spurs, but obviously a replay was never going to be on the cards. But I always believe, Anthony, that as long as we do our bit and we make sure we win, we shouldn't really have to worry too much about the refereeing calls. And in as much as Oliver proved to be poor, just as well that his name's not Oliver Twist, it must be said. We weathered that storm well enough, and it just goes to show that Kovacic, even though he is still capable, he's still nowhere near the quality to replace Ilkay Gundogan. And so, I mean, I thought we were the ones who normally buy Chelsea rejects, and City have gone on and done the same thing. And
true,
it was lucky. City were in the end lucky that they got away with it, but they're probably going to be thinking that maybe it would have been better if Kovacic had gotten sent off, because it would have been a good test of their mettle to see how well they would do. And I'm not too sure Kovacic necessarily had the best game in that City midfield. Rice was certainly not exactly dictating the course of the play, but he was making a lot of things happen. I wouldn't go so far to say that he was necessarily man of the match, of course. You know why. But Kovacic in particular was not really having the best of games. And he was, of course, a very lucky boy to have not been sent off. But I think he might have to look back on that and say that that was not one of his finest games. And credit to us, of course, we did what we had to do, and we weathered the storm very well. If we had drawn or lost and had been pointing to the Kovacic red card, a lot of people would have been saying that's just sour grapes. You had your chance to beat a depleted Manchester City team, and you weren't able to do so. And there have been many people who were saying that, you know, if you're going to make so much of KDB and Rodri not being in the team, then there's no excuse for you if you don't win. And of course, we ended up getting the win in fortuitous circumstances. But I mean, you know, you have to say that sometimes those who are brave or those who are deserving make their own luck. So yeah, Kovacic should have been at least, you know, I think he should have been at least given a yellow card for that, and I think maybe he was, but it still looked a bit of a poor challenge, and it just goes to show that once again the referees are at fault for not being able to truly understand the letter of the law and how to completely apply it. So technology can't really be blamed. If VAR had intervened well, and if the law had been applied, either Curtis Jones would have still been on the field, or Kovacic would have been off.
Yeah.
And it's just a damning indictment of just how poor the referees have been so far in this Premier League.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Manny, on that one. And also VAR, as in recent, you know, let's take the Liverpool and Tottenham game into consideration. I'm not happy with VAR. I just find it pointless. I think it's if a decision comes in is wrong, I think the referee should override the decision of VAR personally. But Tochu, your opinion on this, Man City. Should they have been sent down to 10 men?
I think it's quite a unanimous decision that he should have been sent off, Kovacic. Okay, fine. First foul, yellow card, fine. It can happen sometimes. The VAR is inconsistent, as you said, but for him to repeat the exact same offense, maybe do it a little bit harsher and not be sent off, I mean, I think Mike Oliver is the best of a bad bunch, but I think it's a disgrace that Kovacic was in the game at that time still.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right there, mate. And the other thing I want to talk about as well is the substitution that Arteta made. You know, obviously he made the substitution leading up to the goal, obviously at the right time of the game. Listen, Kai Havertz, he scored one goal and he's got an assist. Right? We all know this. Now, apparently, he's the he's the Messiah now. He's up there with the likes of Mbappe, Ronaldo, Messi. The list is endless. Right? The list is endless. Do you know what? I'm going to come to Maury on this one. Your thoughts, mate, on Arteta's substitution and obviously with Havertz with the assist. And is he the Messiah?
He's not the Messiah. Being agnostic, doesn't mean a whole lot. Me saying someone's not the Messiah, by the way, but I'll get to Kai Havertz in a second. But I mean, it's quite remarkable, right? Like it's a huge coincidence, by the way. But it was literally like Partey passing to Tomiyasu to Havertz to Martinelli. Like all four of the players that came in were literally like the four last touches to the goal, right? So pretty cool there. So it's good. That's what I meant from before. Like I can see spots where we can do better within our squad depth, but I don't see a whole lot of clubs out there with more squad depth than us. Like this is us needing to improve just because, but when it comes to like we don't have as much depth as in the Premier League, I don't see anyone having more depth than Arsenal. I honestly don't. Yeah. Like I see teams having more quality in some places, but not more depth. Yeah. But Havertz, mate, it's I'm not blind. Like, I know Havertz hasn't been playing well. Like I never tried to argue against that. He's been playing less crap the last couple of days. I feel like he could benefit a lot from like being accepted as a squad player, not having a lot of pressure on him. And, you know, like I recently thought of something which is literally the guy he's replacing. Xhaka wasn't good all of out of the blue with Arteta, right? Like he had one really good season last season. The
Yeah.
season before he was better already, but it took him a while as well.
Yeah.
And you point the prime of both of these players. I would say Havertz was better than Xhaka. Like I feel like it's still early to lose faith in him, but thankfully we have a squad that's good enough so that he doesn't need to be a protagonist right now. Because clearly, if he's a protagonist on a game, it's a problem. It's a problem. Like he hasn't done enough. Like he's been slow. He's been sloppy. He's probably, definitely, actually the worst player of the season so far. Like out of the players that got like relevant numbers, relevant minutes, by far our worst performing player. So I hope there's patience with him from the fans and that like he's not overplayed while while he's in this really bad spell. But you know, like 65 million pounds were spent. So I hope at some point it's kind of worth it, you know. But we can't rush it because he can't be starting games. He can't.
No. No, Manny, the same question to you, mate. Arteta with his subs on time, basically, right on cue, and also with your thoughts on Kai Havertz with the assist, and is he the Messiah? That's what I want to know.
Let's talk
You're
about
an
the
asshole,
subs.
cuz.
Yeah, you might want to mind your language. Don't let this thing get demonetized. Yeah, but let's talk about these subs. I think because there was 3 made at one time, if memory serves me right. I believe in addition to Havertz, Partey and Martinelli were brought on, if memory serves me right.
Yeah,
And yeah, so Martinelli, super sub, no question about it. Partey came on, showed why he's still highly valued despite his injuries. But as far as Havertz being the Messiah, I think I'm going to go off what our good friend has said, Maury has said, and say that if playing less rubbish makes you the Messiah, then we've got a team almost chock full of Messiahs. Of course, there are some players who aren't quite at the Messiah level yet. Mr.
Yeah.
Nketiah, I'm talking to you. You're in trouble because we're in your room now.
yeah,
And yeah, so no, I think the jury's still out on the guy, and I think he still has to find out what his best position is. I still get a lot of Willian vibes with him, and we shouldn't be at a stage where, you know, if a player performs less horribly, we celebrate that and say he's adapting well. I mean, it's a little bit like saying, you know, no news is good news, or if you can't do anything right, just don't do anything wrong. I'm sorry,
Yes.
but when you're being paid an obscene amount of money, when you have that much money being paid to get you into the club, we have a right to expect more than just not being rubbish. So no, he's not the Messiah. And all of these fans who are jumping on that bandwagon, all I can say is, in the words of your favorite manager, shut your mouth and eat it. Seriously. I know that the accent is completely horrible, but listen, this is an example of how, with this win over City, many of us are losing perspective. It's still early in the season. We've got to play Liverpool twice. We've got to play Aston Villa twice. We've got to play Newcastle twice. We've also got to play Brighton and Hove Albion twice. And we remember how they completely humiliated us at the Emirates, which led to several of our fans walking out not too long after the 3rd goal was scored, or it might have been even before then. So, no, I'm sick.
Yeah.
I'm sick of all of this hyperbole, and all I can say is, you know, calm down. We've still got a long way to go, and I've got a couple of mates of mine in a football chat who say, you know, on the basis of this performance, Arteta's proved himself to be a top-level manager. Wind your necks in if you're watching this. I mean, I know you're not, but still. So no, Havertz is not the Messiah. He's still a very naughty boy. And until he improves himself, he's still going to be wearing the dunce cap in my eyes.
No, Manny. Do you know what? This is why I like you on the show, Manny. I got to be honest with you. This is why I like you on the show. Toshi,
Cheers, mate. Always a pleasure to be on. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Love you too.
That's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. So, your views on Havertz with the assist? Arteta making his subs at the right time, obviously because we scored from it. What do you think, mate, of Kai Havertz?
First off, I want to say, Marley, you're wearing a great shirt. Wearing the same shirt. Let's go.
There you go.
But yeah, to the point. With the substitutes, I think it's one of the best games Arteta has managed, personally. Like, of course, both four subs did play a role in the goal. And I saw a post earlier today on Instagram that he saw Arteta pointing Tomiyasu forward for the goal, and then Rice was pointing Quati to play the ball to Tomiyasu. And I think it's just a perfectly I say it's thought out goal. I think it's a very executed thing, very well executed, and yeah, I mean the substitutes played their part what Arteta wanted them to do. So I think it's totally acceptable how the game went on in that manner. And for Havertz, no, he's not the Messiah. He's absolutely not. I think Declan Rice, very well could be. I'm absolutely adored of him. He's a great player. But I mean, I like Havertz. I've got to be honest. I think he's an underutilized player at Chelsea, at least. I was a very big fan of him at Bayer Leverkusen. He played phenomenally there. I think Arteta could find his magic again. I think he could find it back, but it will take time. It definitely will take time. And is it time we can avoid to spend on Havertz alone? And I don't think we can at this stage of the season or this stage of our process.
Yeah. Well, I hope he turns things around, because at the minute, I'd rather have him on the bench. I don't think I'm the only one that admits that. But Marley, I've noticed, I think there's a few comments, whether you want to get through them.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so poll today: where will Arsenal finish in the league this season? Get your votes in, people. Thanks for viewing so far. King TV says big up to all of us. Big up as well, King.
Big up, King.
All right. Gunner forever. Arsenal beat Man City without conceding a Premier League home match since 2012. Also, Arteta scored in the winner in that match in the 87th minute. I actually remember that from when I was watching the game. They spoke of that, which is kind of cool. I was kind of hoping Declan Rice was gonna score the winner, just so that it's a better matchup, you know. But, Saliba and Gabriel, we haven't had a partnership like that since Toure and Campbell, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think you could put Tony Adams in there. Come on, I'm full of Arsenal history. We got
Toure and Campbell came after Tony Adams, so it's still
yeah.
5 votes in, so 20% for first, second, and for fourth, and 40% for third. At the time that Maddie posted that comment. David Reyes slowed the game down for us, which suited us better, where if Ramsdale was in goal, he would have played it quickly, and that would have suited Man City even more. We're going to get to the goalkeeper topic very soon. Yeah. Rodri, KDB, Stones, without them in Man City team, they will not win the league. Okay, reducing this Man City team to 4 shots, fair play. Okay, there's a lot of comments here. Might skip through a couple of one. This win against Man City means nothing if we don't win the Premier League this season. Okay, that makes sense. Saliba reminds me of the great David O'Leary. So calm on the ball. The next 2 years, Saliba will be the best center back in the world. We have to win the league. Otherwise, we'll lose him to Real Madrid. Havertz will, with the assist, give him a pay rise. Almost done, guys. 2 more. So time to end Ketia experiment. He is not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. Yeah. And calm down, Arsenal. Calm down. Okay. Yeah. Those are all the comments.
Calm down, Arsenal. Calm down. That's jealousy, that isn't it? Because obviously, Man United. Where are they?
No, but he's pretty much echoing what's been said here. You know what happens to me? You know what happens to me is like I don't go on Twitter. Like I don't.
No.
So I don't see these more delusional like people, right? Like if someone's hyping this victory to means that we're favorites to win the league now or something like that. If someone actually, without meaning it as a joke, actually said that Havertz was a messiah, that's why I get shocked in here every now and then because I don't see these more like extremist people
Yeah.
when it comes to optimism,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely right now on the optimist side.
On the optimist side, yeah, yeah. Well, it's like what I said. I mean, with Man City, the way they played, I feel they're obviously. I feel that they're going to be in a bit of a spiral now. Obviously, going on the back end of losing to Wolves, and they've lost to us, but it just proves Kevin De Bruyne. He's missed, obviously, but obviously, you know, with De Bruyne as well, with the assist with Haaland. Don't get me wrong, Haaland is a world class player. We know that he's top quality, but I feel that with that sort of link with De Bruyne out, and obviously Origo, he's come back now from his 3-match ban. Look, but the main key in that midfield and that middle is still for me is Kevin De Bruyne. I know. They got Grealish there. He's not featuring as much as he's not. He seems to be playing on the bench more, but you know, I do feel that's a major loss, and obviously with Haaland, I think sometimes that affects a striker's performance on the pitch. Just with the assist alone, you know that's what I'm going because he obviously does assist as well, as well as score goals, Kevin De Bruyne. So you know that's my opinion anyway. But we're going to go on to our next topic. Man of the match. Now we got all our man of the matches. You know, there's so many players that you could have given awarded it to, and in all fairness, there was. Manny, I think you said Saliba, didn't you? And what was the reason why you give for Saliba again? Sorry.
He just kept Holland and company quiet. Recovered himself very well, even if he did slip up a little bit. And I think Guna Forever mentioned in the chat that he still continues to remind us of the legend that is David O'Leary, very calm and composed on the ball. And I think he said it perfectly. If we don't win the league, we could lose him. So a lot's going to hinge on this season. We could lose quite a few of our players. And don't be surprised if Bukayo Saka decides to, you know, move on because maybe he feels as though Arteta continues to flog him and not really show that much care about his well-being. So this is the big season. But man of the match has to be Saliba. No doubt about it. I know Martinelli came on and had a wonderful impact, but it's very rare that substitutes get man of the match awards, unless, of course, they come on and score maybe a hat-trick or something like that. So, yep, Saliba.
Yeah, Saliba. So, what's your man of the match, mate, and why?
Yeah,
Cousin,
I mean, like
cousin,
I said,
cousin. Cousin. His name is Tiho, and you're calling him Tushy, which is kind of awkward. So you're saying Tushy.
He's having a laugh.
Tiho.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No, but like I said, I mean, I couldn't watch the game, of course, but I mean, I want to go automatically with Martinelli because he did score the goal, but
yeah,
I mean, from what I did see and what I didn't see live, I think Saliba did have a very good game from what I have seen. And like Manny said, he did keep Haaland reasonably quiet, so I think I think it would be between one of them.
Yeah,
and let's put it into perspective. Haaland has been on the target a few times in Norway's 4-0 win over Cyprus, so that sort of emphasizes just how big a role Saliba played.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there's a reasonably big difference between Cyprus and Arsenal, but I see what you mean.
Yep.
It's like.
And Maury, what was your man of the match and why?
I mean, I'm probably gonna be the third guy. Like if I'm being completely honest, I agree that Saliba was man of the match. But I want to say someone else. But just Saliba's been remarkable, and people say like he could be the best center back in the world in 2 years. Like he's one of them now, and we showed that last season. Like had we not lost Saliba, like there was a very solid chance that Arsenal would have won the league. Like that was squad depth problem, because and we still have that problem because we're not going to just replace Saliba. Even if we have like good defenders now on the bench, like Saliba is just like next level. He's very, very good. It's not the first time that he did a good job against Holland. You're talking about the best goal scorer in the world. So keeping him that quiet is so remarkable. But just because I don't want to be repetitive, I could have said Gabriel Magalhães as well. GMAG, he was almost as good as Saliba. Like perfect as well. It's just that Saliba's better. So if both are perfect, Saliba's having the better game.
Yeah.
But Declan Rice, mate. Declan Rice was immense in that game. And I've actually read, like, it's not often. I think it was on comments like somewhere else, like on a website or something. But I actually saw someone being unimpressed with Declan Rice in that performance. And I just feel like he was so immense. He bossed the midfield, of course, like it was a weakened midfield from City. Like it wasn't the true test. Like he wasn't playing against Rodri and De Bruyne, but still, like he bossed it. You mentioned earlier that Zinchenko's looking slightly better when it comes to defending, and I'm sure he is as well. One of the main reasons why it hasn't been as big of an issue for now is that like we have the best DM in the world when it comes to ball recoveries in Declan Rice. And that was the case before he joined Arsenal, and right now it's still the case. Like he's phenomenal. Like when it comes to recovering, he becomes faster. It's he's great at tackling, man. He bosses it. Like he makes a difference going forward as well. I'm sure that if we see him play as a number 8 a little more, because I feel like if he plays alongside Partey is going to be the more like 6 guy. Like he's got loads to offer as a number 8 as well. Like complete midfielder, man. Like we're very, very lucky. Very lucky to have that guy. And I do feel like with the way things are going in football, like no one's ever going to be silly and say the 105, like 105 million pounds is not a lot of money. But I don't think we're going to be looking at that price tag and like, whoa, that's too much money for too long. Because he's ridiculously good. He's been one of the men of the match in every single game he's played. And I feel like he was also like one of those like 9 out of 10 performances in this game.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, I will say that, look, Rice has settled in and done quite well. And obviously that goal against Manchester United would have given him a world of confidence. But we're going to have some tougher tests. Liverpool's midfield certainly looks very strong indeed. We also have to play other teams who are also really doing well. So how he performs against those teams challenging for the title, or at least the Champions League places, will determine how well he does here. But good start from him. At least he's starting to pay back a little bit of that 105 million. And listen, we're going to mention the fee with Havertz. We're going to mention the fee with Rice. It's par for the course.
Yeah. I'm also going to throw this question into the equation. Now, we touched on Declan Rice. I still want to talk about Declan Rice. How do you feel? Declan Rice, he's doing bits in that DM role. Future captain, maybe, of Arsenal. Anybody wants to express their thoughts? And did you feel that Declan Rice could be a future captain at our club? Because personally, I think he's captain material. Personally, anybody else? Well, I'll tell you what. Tojo, do you think he's going to be a future captain at our club?
I don't necessarily think so. I think he's a great leader, definitely, but like with the players we have right now, if I think Odegaard could stay a very long time. I think he's younger than Rice, Odegaard. I'm not necessarily sure about that.
I think they're the same age.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, depends. Saka could stay a lifetime at the club, or Martinelli. I mean, I think there are still a few players above Rice in the pecking order, and that's just pure because of status and not leadership or anything. But I think he definitely could be in the talk for captaincy, definitely.
Yeah. Manny, do you want to touch on that one? Do you think Rice in the near future might be a captain? I know, don't get me wrong, I know Odegaard is our captain. To me, I feel that sometimes when I watch Odegaard with the captaincy, I don't feel in every game he's captain material. I mean, this is just my opinion, my views. I just don't think he is. I think Declan Rice has got more to offer within that captaincy. Basically, I mean, against Manchester United, just before he scored the goal, he was literally telling players to calm down, and like he was pointing. He was pointing here, there. You mark him, you got him, this, that, and the other. And I just feel, to me, that expresses, because we don't know what players are talking about on the pitch, do we? But then when we see the body language in that going, you feel like, it's nice to see and nice to know that somebody is actually telling players what to do to pick up the game and that sort of thing. But what's your thoughts on it, Manny? Do you reckon he could be a future captain?
Well, I certainly don't see why not. But then, of course, as I often say, there's many a slip between the cup and the lip. He still has to, in many ways, Anthony, really establish himself in the team as one of our better players. And that shouldn't be necessarily too difficult. Of course, I wouldn't mind necessarily having him as a skipper because he has experience, of course, of leading clubs to European trophies, which is exactly what he did in his final game with West Ham before he joined Arsenal. So it is certainly something that I wouldn't mind looking at, but I would say it is still very early to even consider talking about the idea of future captaincy, because sometimes the captaincy can be a boon. Other times, as we all know, it can be a bit of a bane. And, there was a tweet on Twitter which said that with Odegaard doing as well as he's been doing, the armband means something again. And I remember replying to that by saying, it's not going to mean anything unless Odegaard wins us silverware. Otherwise, he will be a failure as captain. And let's not forget, Aubameyang did lead us to an FA Cup triumph, stepping up in the semi-final and final against Manchester City, of all teams. And so unless we do that, then I certainly wouldn't consider Odegaard to be a success as a captain. He does well enough as a player, don't get me wrong, but he's not really that sort of a commanding leader. And when you have a situation where people like Zinchenko and Jesus were the ones who'd be leading the team talks, it really isn't that much of a good look, it has to be said. I do like the idea of Declan Rice potentially becoming the captain and the one who takes more of the responsibility. But it's funny how in certain sports, Anthony, first of all, if you're a fan of rugby, then you'll be delighted to see how well Ireland have been doing in this current World Cup. And it often seems to be the case that although rugby teams do have a captain in name, it's more often than not the more senior and experienced players who may not be captaining the team that end up really dictating the flow of the play. And also, I mean, the captains do speak to the referees, but the senior players are the ones who dictate the flow of the play and tell their teammates what to do and so forth. So it's interesting how that kind of network works. And I really don't see Zinchenko and Jesus staying with us for very long. And I think that might be very harsh in some ways. But, you got to be a little bit ruthless at times. And sometimes if sacrificing them means, facing the prospect of doing better, then so be it. Let's not forget, City sold them to us and won the Champions League immediately after they left. So that tells the whole story. Yeah. And in the future, if these guys end up leaving the club, because let's face it, their futures aren't really certain, then I could definitely see Declan Rice sticking around. But again, it all depends on the future of certain players, really. And again, unless we're able to secure silverware, I really don't know if I can see many players wanting to remain with an Arsenal team, especially with questions continuing to be asked about whether or not Mikel Arteta is the man to continue to take the team forward.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Marley, your thoughts on Declan Rice? Do you think he could most probably be like a future captain, or maybe even put his like a vice captain or something like that?
Sure. I don't think Odegaard is going to be leaving anytime soon, and sure, like he needs to win a title to be, to be.
I was talking about Zinchenko and Jesus, really. To be fair, Odegaard might not be going anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't. I agree that Odegaard, like for him to be considered a great Arsenal captain, yeah, he needs titles. But as of now, like I definitely don't hate the fact that he's captain. I think he's one of the most experienced players on the team. Like we have a really good, really young team, and our two, like the only two players we have that are actually like experienced, and by experienced I mean like over 30. Like one of them's very shy, very quiet, and the other one's like is in and out of the team. Like it's not a full starter. So like you need to be counting on one of the younger guys like Odegaard. Like he's been the captain for Norway for a long time now, since he was like much younger. I feel like he's been leading us well. And I feel like in a team like this where everyone's so young and hungry, like you can see that there are multiple leaderships. Declan Rice is already doing what he like. You already said it. Like he's already like kind of captaining a couple of players every now and then because he's got that DNA. Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus being more experienced and being more used to like chasing titles and all of that. Like they're gonna be sort of leaders in there. Like just like Xhaka didn't actually wear the armband, but people kind of knew that he was the captain of the team because was one of the older guys. Like I feel like the armband is, I mean, it should never be disrespected. I agree, but I feel like it's slightly overplayed a bit. It's slightly overrated. Like the actual armband here, because the team has many leaders. I don't look into that too much. I feel like Declan Rice has a bigger shot being England captain than Arsenal captain, just because of circumstances. We have a really young team with a lot of players that could turn out to be leaders. If Saka stays for a long time, because he's one of the best players in the world, and I see him staying that way, he could be captain one day too. We have a lot of candidates, mate. So I have no clue. Like it's kind of like it's a huge guessing game.
Yeah. Well, it's looking good, isn't it? That way, if you've got a few players that can actually do a captaincy, pick a role, and that's it. Murray, I didn't know if you want to do a few more. I think that we might have a few more comments in, and then we'll get on to our last topic.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. So, Trophy Yellow smiling. Could it be this time? What does that mean? Like I think this comment might be too British for me. I have no idea what he means.
Well, thinking that if we could win the it's probably the Premier League by the sounds of it. So,
Pano, and correct me if I'm wrong. The last time Man City had 4 shots was back in 2010. I'll take your word for it, but then I do not have
it could have been.
Timber could replace Saliba at CB. I mean, he could. But he could be a great backup, but I feel like it's too soon to say that he could replace Saliba.
Yeah.
Like Saliba's been huge. I know Timber looked scary good in the very beginning, though. Was Saliba being out injured last season was the reason we didn't win the league? I believe it played a major part in it. I feel like it was.
It was, yeah.
I feel like that's what where I would lend the most percentages. Like that's the biggest reason why we didn't win. Before Saliba got injured last season, we conceded 20 plus goals. Since he was out, it was doubled. Yeah. Declan Rice is an upgrade, but where the world-class players were told that once we got back in the Champions League. Anthony, I would make Rice captain now, but every player has to earn the right for that. Morten Odegaard's not a captain. We can all see that. Not all of us. Morten Odegaard decision-making was horrendous against Man City. I feel like he did not have a good game. I wouldn't say horrendous, but I agree that he wasn't on his best. Yeah. That's all the comments.
That's all the comments. Right, let's go on to our last topic now. Last topic, Ramsdale or Reina? Right, so we got our goalkeepers. A lot of people... well, I say a lot of people. A lot of Arsenal fans, were sort of stating Ramsdale the way he is, the way he plays in goal, and he basically wasn't on form. It's not sort of like his form dipped, and obviously we saw Matty Turner. We got him from Brentford. Ray was. I think he was voted the 5th best goalkeeper in the Premier League last season, but. The reason why I wanted to talk about this and do this,
I think it was 3rd.
Oh, it's 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, 3rd. Yeah. All right then. Sorry, I thought it was 5th. But with Raya, the way how he's been playing at the minute, I mean, he's cost us the game. In my opinion, he cost us the game in the Champions League when we lost 2-1 to Lens. That pass out. I know it's going out towards Tomiyasu, but I feel why do the pass? Why not just just do a proper goal kick and kick it down the bloody pitch. In all fairness, but what my opinion is well, in this Man City game, he made a couple of howlers. It's the passing from the back. I don't understand it. It was going across the back, and I'm going to be honest with you. When he does that against Man City, I mean, it could have been. I think it was Haaland when he hit the ball against Haaland, and it sort of like ricocheted back, and it hit the side netting of the goal.
Alvarez.
That was Alvarez, mate, not
right.
Haaland.
Sorry, and it was like, and really, I was getting to the end of my tether there. I was watching the game. Good job, my son chose not to watch the game. He was. I think he was up at his friend's house or something because I'll be honest with you, Manny. I know you don't like swearing. I'm not going to say any swearing words on here, but my words weren't that great when I was watching the game. I was like,
he was a naughty boy.
I was a naughty boy.
So, not the Messiah.
No, for the Messiah. No, I wasn't. I think I am. No, but it's just I just feel that he's been the decisions he's been doing has been wrong of late. Personally, if it was me, I would like to see Ramsdale back in goal. I mean, this is like I say again, this is just my opinion. I know there's competition there between the both. I feel now you've just got to spice it up and mix it up a bit. I think Ramsdale should come in and play a few games, because obviously they're competing for the number one goalkeeping spot. So I think just bring Ramsdale in. Let's see what he could do in a couple of games. Obviously after the international the international break. I feel that he should be given a chance, and then after that, we can sort of roughly decide which goalkeeper we should play, and also if Arteta, knowing how stubborn he is, if he's just going to swap him around in vital games, then so be it. But in the minute, I would just like to see Ramsdale in goal. I'm going to go to who should I say on this one? So I'm gonna come to you, mate. Who would you like to see in goal? Would you stick with Raya, or would you think because of the mistakes he's been making, would you rather give Ramsdale, some game time?
Good question. First off, I want to say, why are we disrespecting Kohan? Is he not a serious contender for our number one goalkeeper? Like, come on. No, but seriously, I gotta say, I think Raya is a more secure goalkeeper than Ramsdale at just basic pure shot stopping. I think Ramsdale does have his moments in goal, but it's difficult because I wanted to see Ramsdale against City because I think we needed his attitude against City, but I mean, it turned out we didn't really because we won the game 1-0. We got a clean sheet, but I do think Raya is a better goalkeeper overall. I think goalkeeping is more important than being able to clear the ball to a teammate to the 6-yard line, for example. So I think I would prefer Raya to stay in goal, honestly.
Okay, mate. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. This is your decision. Morley, I'm going to come to you on this one.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. But this is exactly the situation we want to be in as Arsenal fans, right? Like as a big club, we want to see the club having to be kind of ruthless, and at a very similar time, like we're most likely going to be seeing like Tierney already kind of left. Smith Rowe's probably going to leave soon. I'm assuming Ramsdale, like there's a good chance he's not going to be here for a long time. And that's because like we're outgrowing a couple of players, and like we need to be doing this if we want to be huge again, right? It's it kind of sucks. Like if you remember in the beginning of the season, I was saying I hope Ramsdale is the starter because I hope Ramsdale proves to be better than Raya. But I always thought Raya was probably gonna be the starter at the end of the day. And like I agree that he's slightly better at shot stopping than Ramsdale. It's like everything is close. Like Ramsdale's not bad with his foot. It's just that Raya really is like one of the very best when it comes to that, like a ball playing goalkeeper. I feel like Ramsdale's more commanding, for example, but just stylistically for what Arsenal wants to play, like you some people might say that Ramsdale wouldn't have put us in the same scares that that Raya did recently. But then again, like we'd be playing slightly different. Like we count more on Raya, and I think he's gonna. I mean, I still hope that Ramsdale improves and gets the number one spot by the end of the season. I like him so much.
Yeah.
But this is me being a fan. This is me being a fan of the human, right? But I feel like right now, football wise, both as a gamble and like if it's just at the level they're both at now, like I would go with Raya too.
Raya too, yeah. Manny.
Well, thank you for letting me have something akin to the last word on this. Without digressing, I think we should all be in agreement that we never ever should have sold Emiliano Martinez. Not because he's far better at shot stopping.
Yeah.
I disagree, but fair enough.
Oh, we lost.
Yeah, I think he's having a slight connection problem there. Manny? Okay, let's give him a couple seconds to come back.
Yeah,
but that's interesting. That's interesting. I don't think we've ever had that conversation. Like, do you still look regretful at Martinez?
Yeah.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Yeah. So, yeah, personally, I do regret it. Because I'll tell you why. Martinez is much better at shot stopping than both Raya and Ramsdale. He's better at claiming crosses than both Raya and Ramsdale. His positioning is outstanding, excellent decision making, but he's also improved his ball ability to play from the back well. That he's also been a very key part in the success of Aston Villa this season, especially since Unai Emery came in and he took them from the depths of relegation to Conference League qualification, and they are in fact contenders to improve on that by qualifying possibly for the Champions League, but they will have to improve their squad. So out of the three, Martinez is easily the better all-round goalkeeper, not just because he's a world champion, the Copa America goalkeeper. He's just a complete package. And I take a look at Raya and Ramsdale, and I have to say, quite honestly, that as decent as they may be, as much as they have their better qualities, I don't see either of them being really necessarily good enough all round to be considered great keepers, but we're stuck with them. And so it's a case of choosing one over the other. And I say stick with Raya, because here's the deal. There have been several occasions during Ramsdale's, breakout season or 2 seasons where, we could have gotten gotten Champions League football in 2022 and we didn't. We could have won the league last season and we didn't. And he did make some really good saves, but he also had more moments of madness where he wasn't really punished. And then a lot of people were saying, well, look, it's a part of it, and he's still a wonderful keeper, and we're going to back him. But I kept telling myself, one of these days, it's going to come crashing down on him. And lo and behold, it did. The Southampton game and several other games where some of the mistakes he made were absolutely diabolical, and he has to be noted as a big reason why we didn't win the league last season. Now, I know that might sound harsh, but it's the truth. And then earlier on this in pre-season, he conceded an awful goal against Manchester United. What he was doing for the Fulham goal, I will never know. It is very easy to say that, yes, he is a victim of Arteta's ridiculous tactics, and I do believe one day, we will be found out very badly. Yeah. City have already found us out very badly last season because they ended up having an aggregate of 7-2 against us. They beat us 3-1 at the Emirates and 4-1 at the Etihad. Ramsdale was in goal for both of those games, and he was actually, in my opinion, at fault for at least 2 of them, of those 7 goals that we conceded. Raya, of course, yes, it was a dreadful mistake which very nearly led to led to a goal from Alvarez, and he did look a little bit shaky in some respects. You would have to say that he is also trying to find his way into the team, but once he has that backing, he's going to do fine. It doesn't really help, mind you, Anthony, that the English media seems to be focused on Aaron Ramsdale whenever Raya has a bit of a shaky moment. It's as if they're basically saying, Aaron Ramsdale's one of our own. We need to support him. Why is he being treated this way? This is unfair. And when you have people like David Seaman and that other person, Piers Morgan, coming and weighing in, I mean, Seaman, of course, was a great goalkeeper for us, but when it comes to his willingness to support Arteta and this team, come what may, I think it's a little bit misguided from him. And Morgan, well, the less said about the guy, the better. So it's as if people are waiting for Raya to fail so that Ramsdale can come back in. And I don't think that's fair.
No.
And there were times last season when Ramsdale's performances were not up to scratch. He'd pull off a worldie save and have everyone going gaga over him. But then people like myself, who study goalkeepers very carefully, will tell you that there were a lot of deficiencies, one might even say defects to his game, in terms of positioning, in terms of footwork, or in terms of the ability to deal with crosses or what have you. And I remember on Del Boy's show, one Ramsdale fan came on and attacked me and basically said that my opinion was rubbish, and Ramsdale is still a quality goalkeeper, deserves to be given our support no matter what. And then that was after the West Ham game, and then against Southampton, that person never showed up and was kept silent. So after all of the poor memories with Ramsdale, we now have a goalkeeper who doesn't get into any ridiculous controversies. He doesn't engage in any sort of banter with the home fans. He's very focused. He does his job. You could say he doesn't quite have Ramsdale's personality. But another reason why I'm not fond of Ramsdale, I think I might have mentioned this on a previous occasion when I was on your show, Anthony, is because he hasn't done enough to adopt that sort of attitude or personality. No. Peter Schmeichel came to Manchester United. In his first season, he won the League Cup and finished second in the old First Division. And then later on that season, he won the European Championship with Denmark. The following season, he won the Premier League. The season after that, he won the double. And we all know what happened from there. So you've got to be willing to raise your own standards and make sure that you are consistently good enough to be a good goalkeeper, and then you can develop a little bit of an attitude. But Ramsdale has always struck me as being someone with a bit of an attitude problem, someone who, as we would say in England, Anthony, a legend in his own lunchtime. And it was good that we got someone like Raya in because, Ramsdale needed to have a kick up his backside and be told, look, you're going to have some competition. Although I do still sincerely believe that Matt Turner was very, very hard done by. He was excellent for the US in the World Cup and deserved a chance to stake a claim. And the fact that he wasn't is another example of poor man management from Mikel Arteta. He did the same thing to Matt Ryan when Emi Martinez left the club. And of course, we don't need to talk about what he did with Martinez or some other players. So for now, we've got to stick with Raya. And he hasn't done too much wrong. And even if he has done wrong, it's been corrected. In the game against Lens, I will say this, Raya was not the only person to make a few mistakes, and that pass intended for Tomiyasu. On another day, Tomiyasu is alert, gets there quickly, and the pass is worth it. And even from there is no way that Lens should have been allowed to make their way into the penalty area for the guy to have a shot on goal in the first place. So it was a collective failure, and it was just another example of Arteta, completely mucking things up tactically. And I really don't want to, be harsh on the poor fella. I think when you made such a big decision to drop Aaron Ramsdale and give Raya a run in the team, especially for some big games of this magnitude, you've got to stick and twist with him. You can't just suddenly drop him and try and bring Ramsdale back, because even against Brentford, although he did make a few saves in the League Cup, he also did look quite shaky when it came to some other off-field issues. And if he is so willing to turn around to face the Brentford fans and start giving it back at them when the ball isn't even fully cleared, some might call that confidence, but I call that arrogance and a lack of concentration. And this is the same guy, mind you, who conceded a goal against Southampton at St. Mary's because he was distracted by a pigeon. A pigeon. I'm sorry, but that says it all. I don't need to have a guy like him who has poor concentration. I don't need to have a guy like him who, tries to wind people up. I don't need to have a guy like him who, makes one save and thinks he's the bee's knees, but then his poor concentration lets him down and he makes an absolute howler. No, I think we've got a steady presence for now in David Raya. If he does make a few cock-ups, which cost us a few games, then by all means bring Ramsdale back into the team. But all it's going to do is highlight the fact that when it comes to selecting goalkeepers, Mikel Arteta is absolutely clueless.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Right, just a couple of last comments.
I can't wait to see what some comments will say about this Ramsdale Raya debate, because I'm sure there'll be more right now.
There's not really many, but Bargab's in the chat. He's saying big up, and you know what, Manny? He's put your name in the comments, and he said this. He said an interesting point for Manny, and also he goes on to say, why is Martinez never mentioned with Bayern and Madrid? Kappa seems to be up there as well.
I'll answer that question. Martinez was coveted by Bayern, but I think Villa made it very clear that they weren't willing to sell him, and they ended up. I mean, after letting Sommer go, they're struggling right now with Ulrich, who clearly isn't at Neuer's level, and Madrid. I think it'll always be a mystery as to why Kepa ended up going over there. But then Kepa had just been shunted out of Chelsea by Robert Sanchez, so he was available. He wanted playing time. Ancelotti saw him. Good luck to him. I mean, I'm surprised that Ancelotti would make that sort of a decision. But look, Kepa's Spanish. Maybe he'd feel more comfortable playing back in Spain. Everyone's happy. Job's a good one.
Job's a good one. Marty, do you want to reflect on that one, or you're all right?
I think Martinez is simply like not as good as some people make him to be. He's a good keeper, but I feel like he's not at this. He's not at this. Yeah, mate, he's a World Cup winner because Argentina doesn't have any keepers that are better than him.
Knock it off.
It's as simple
he got into the team because Franco Armani was sick with COVID. He performed well and kept his spot. Have you seen Sergio Romero for Boca Juniors? They're going to be playing in the Copa Libertadores final. I don't know why he hasn't been recalled by Argentina.
I'm a Fluminense fan. I've been looking at Romero. Yes, I know what's going on. And Armani was keeper for River Plate. That only goes to show like Argentina hasn't had a top goalkeeper in a long time. And Emiliano Martinez is the closest thing they've had to a goalkeeper to a top goalkeeper for a long time. But I don't think he's like world class or anything. I don't think he's obviously better than Ramsdale and Raya. I think he's better than Leno. So in hindsight, yeah, like we made a mistake there. But I don't.
My friend, let me tell you something right now. He is streets ahead of those two, and I'm going to go so far to say that the way he's going with the the dedication he's showing to his craft, knowing that he doesn't have too long left in the game, but also knows how serious he is on doing well with Aston Villa and with Argentina. He could go on to become their greatest goalkeeper since the legendary Ubaldo Filho. Since Ubaldo Filho, they only had people like Pumpido, Goycochea, and Roa and Avandanzieri, who promised much. I know Pumpido won the World Cup in '86, but he was never really all that. So I disagree. I think Martinez is the real deal. I think he is definitely, I wouldn't say he's the best in the world, but he's definitely in the top one. And I know as a Brazilian, you might have a soft spot for Alisson Becker. I do rate him too. I think he's quality. But Martinez at the moment is just ahead of him in terms of ability, his performances, skill set. Yep.
Wow.
Slightly ahead, but not by much.
Wow. No. Martinez is nowhere near the two best Brazilian keepers, man. That's like,
no. I've seen Edison drop a few clangers. I've seen Alisson's quality, but I've seen him be prone to a few mistakes. There's a reason why Edison has hardly ever played for Brazil very much, although I think he has now been preferred for the last few games. Alisson's ahead of Edison. But look, Martinez with Argentina. Come on, brother. He's different gravy.
It's because the Brazilian manager now favors someone that uses his feet more, and that's better with his feet. That's why Ederson took over right now, because as a goalkeeper, Alisson is ahead. It's just a different conversation. It's like I do not mean to be disrespectful to Villa, but he's been at Aston Villa for a long time. He only started for Arsenal after an injury, and sure, like in hindsight, it looked as if like he deserved to be starting more games beforehand. But he's been at a medium-sized club ever since.
He should have been.
There are multiple big clubs that need a goalkeeper. They don't get him. I don't think he's that world beater, and I think we're like right now. I don't miss him.
Yeah, but he should have been picked. He should have been picked more over Leno. Definitely.
Exactly. After that FA Cup win, he deserved to be our starting goalkeeper, but Arteta arrogantly said no. So he was right to leave because Arteta decided that merit wasn't a criteria. And look, he knew that at the time Aston Villa were the only club who might want to come in for him. But with Bayern Munich interested in him, Villa, of course, said no because they knew how important Martinez was. I think Martinez will eventually join a big club, but he is committed to doing his best for Aston Villa, giving them some great moments. He could win a title with them, and if he does, he will certainly continue to prove what a quality goalkeeper he is. And I'm sick of this idea that just because a player doesn't play for a big club, he can't be considered world class. I'm sorry. That's football snobbery 101. You see the way he performs, you see his skill set, you see some of the saves he pulls off and the effect he has on his team. He's vice captain of Villa for a reason. I'm sorry, but he has to be up there as the best, or at least in the top 2 or 3. Let's go to our friend from the Netherlands, who obviously has good reason to have nightmares about Emmy. What do you think of this debate?
I've got to be honest, Manny. I think you've spoken a lot on Ramsdale's arrogance, but Martinez has that same arrogance and maybe double it. So I mean,
he literally was
maybe
the reason why a rule changed, because he's such a dick.
And like, I think he hasn't warranted his arrogance either. Like, of course, after the World Cup, he does deserve to be got some more slack, but before the World Cup, he was also being arrogant in games. So I mean, I think I see the same issue there for Martinez as for Ramsdale. I think Martinez, I'm just not a fan of Martinez personally. Maybe because of the Netherlands game in the World Cup. But even before that game, I wasn't ever that big a fan of him that I thought, oh no, we've lost him. What are we going to do now? You know, I mean, I might be a bit too harsh on him, but I wouldn't put him above Ramsdale or Raya personally.
No, give him some credit. I mean, he's a winner, so he's earned his right to be a little bit arrogant, and he's worked hard. He's taken his opportunities. He obviously knew what he wanted to do and worked hard for it, and he's gotten it. So you got to give him some credit for that. If he's earned his right to be arrogant, Ramsdale hasn't. Martinez won the FA Cup when Ramsdale was getting relegated with Bournemouth. Martinez kept clean sheets with Villa and won the Copa America when Ramsdale was getting relegated with Sheffield United. He didn't even make the England squad for the Euros and only got in after Dean Henderson got injured. So you see the levels in this thing, my friend?
I think it's very...
I get your point. I get your point.
I think it's very... I mean, he was being arrogant before winning the World Cup, and literally, like, there was a change in football rule because he was being so arrogant and so annoying. But I feel like it's silly and kind of like same thing, like football snobbery or elitist like thinking. Only the top of the players can be arrogant, because there's football that's played at a lot of different levels, and it's not only the champions at Man City, Liverpool, and like World Cup champions that can actually have a little bit of attitude, because people are allowed to have fun. So saying Ramsdale, I don't know. I don't see a problem in his attitude. He's not that big of a dick. He doesn't act like he's the best keeper in the world. He just has a little fun with the rival fans. It's like he likes the relationship he has with rivals. I feel like it's silly to try to point out.
It's not a relationship. He's winding them up and making a fool of himself. And he focuses so much more on the PR, but he doesn't work hard enough with his goalkeeping coaches to improve his technique. I'm sorry, that's a big no-no for me. Makes the same mistakes again and again and again. Doesn't work hard on his craft enough.
I think he's going to be the England starter next World Cup. I don't think he's going to be at Arsenal anymore, but I think he's going to be the number one for England.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. A lot was said about Paul Robinson and how he would be the next great thing. He was indulged by, Leeds United and Tottenham being played regularly ahead of keepers who were much better than him in Nigel Martin and Casey Keller. But then he was found out in the 2006 World Cup. During the Euro 2008 qualifying campaign, he made some dreadful howlers, and he wasn't picked for England after that. So all I'm saying is, let's not go too crazy on a person like Ramsdale. Let him earn his stripes the way, Joe Hart did, the way Pickford has done to some sort of an extent. Why Nick Pope isn't back in the squad, I don't know. Maybe because he isn't good enough with his feet. But all I'm saying is Ramsdale needs a reality check, and hopefully this could be the making of him in the start of his improvement.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, Manny. We've all got different opinions and views on this one. Over it, I said Ramsdale over Raya, but then again, with Raya coming from Brentford into Tottenham, is a different opportunity for him. I mean, obviously, he's playing Champions League football now. He's at a different standard. Obviously, when you compare Arsenal to Brentford, so there's that to take into consideration as well. So I just wish both keepers the best now, and that's it. If Ramsdale, listen, if Ramsdale is an option, and we play him and we keep him, and then he goes into, play for the first team goalkeeper for England for his country, then that's fair enough. I mean, either Southgate or whoever the manager is going to be. Personally, I think this is going to be Southgate's last campaign. That's me, but if he gets that opportunity and he sticks with it, that's fair enough. I wish him all the best. I just want to get to this last comment now. Is Forever? He says Tottenham will soon replace that chicken for a kangaroo. There's a smiley face on it. So I don't know what he means by that. Right? Yeah, that's it. Just before we come to the end, I just want so do you want to give I don't know if you've got a show or anything like that, or if you're on any social medias, did you want to give them a shout out so people can follow you, mate?
I mean, I do have an Instagram. I don't use it that often anymore, but wait, that's the name doesn't say, but it's no, it doesn't matter. I'm on Instagram over at Player Database, a YouTube account called Player Database as well. They're both neither active, but I mean, I am on there. You can reach me if you would wish to. So yeah, follow would be still appreciated, and of course, follow Football United TV.
Okay, thank you very much. I tell you what, I will get you on the show again. That's not a problem. Okay, but thank you for coming on anyway, and I respect that. So big up to yourself, Marty. Where can people follow you, mate?
You found me. This is my home. You can follow me on Instagram if you choose to. You do not have a whole lot of reasons to do so though, but it's at CharlieMiller93. I'm like at the moment I'm very inactive on Twitter, so like I'm not even gonna bother. Just support this channel. Go to GolassoKits.com, take a look at their content, and just support these fine gentlemen here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and Manny.
Yeah, first of all, Anthony, thank you so much for having me on. It was wonderful to come back here. Really enjoyed the stream immensely. And I am sorry for the internet issues near the end. I think my connection just acted up on me and I had to come back. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that we had a great discussion. And I hope to come back again very soon. As far as social media is concerned, you can catch me on Instagram at MannyThungathero1981, and that's also my Threads ID. If you want to catch me on Twitter, having my say on soccer and politics and other issues, it's Thungathero1981. That's my surname and my year of birth. And catch me everywhere else on YouTube. Obviously, you can catch me here again on Football United TV, and I hope to keep coming back. Big shout out to Del Boy Gunner TV, Oris Talks Football, Coach's Corner, Sony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AFC TV, up the shows in all departments, AFC Talk Show TV, Eugene Spurs Asia TV, Villa TV, and several other channels that I haven't really been able to, I don't know if I can really name at present, but just I guess my memory is fried right now. But all of these channels, of course, have given me a chance to come on YouTube and sort of show my face and have my say. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm always a believer that we have to keep our opinions respectful and our treatment of others on these streams respectful. If we can't agree to disagree without being disagreeable, there's no point in having a discussion. So no banter. Let's treat each other the way that we'd like to be treated. Big up to everyone in the chat who's joined in and offered their perspectives. You're a big reason why this stream and Anthony's channel are what they are. And I hope to keep coming back and interacting with a lot of you in the chat once again. Do enjoy the upcoming weekend and the sports that are coming up, whether it's football, cricket, or rugby. There's some terrific stuff coming up. Very exciting indeed. But until then, take care of yourselves, stay safe and stay happy, and don't do anything that I or anyone else on the panel wouldn't do. But for now, it is farewell to thee, and good night, and God bless to every one of you. Cheers.
Thank you, Manny. Thanks for coming on, mate. It's appreciated. I always like you on the show. And your views are all, it's listened to and is like what you said, is taken into consideration as well. So there's not a problem there. Right then. So that's it. That's the end of the show. And is there anything anybody else want to say before we leave? No?
No, nothing else.
Okay then. Well,
Ciao.
well, you know, obviously, it's the Premier League is stops at the minute, and the international football's here. So let's get that over with. Get back to the Premier League, and come on, you Arsenal.